Good morning. So what I'm going to do is just go through some slides in terms of the ERP database preparation, and then whilst I've got some slides on the Caladium lodgement stuff, I will actually take you through the Caladium site to give you some exposure to it. I think a few of you have played with it over the past couple of months, but this will get you going for your live payroll submissions. Right. Okay, Lydia, you can hear me now?
Yes, I can now, sorry.
That's okay, that's good, that's good. So very quickly, the ATO are quite specific in terms of the format of data and various characters, so there is some cleaning up to may be required in your payroll database, in terms of removing special characters, dashes, commas, and in some cases spaces. Most of you have gone through, but and I'll take you through the screenshots very quickly in terms of the employee properties. But there's the data that is mandatory in the submissions, so some things can't be left blank. But the other area of sorting out is the allowances, and I'll quickly take you through that as well. The first one is with the employee properties. We have to make sure that there are no special characters. The new country field, which is in there, and also the state fields, which must be a maximum of 3 characters. The phone number cannot be left blank, so there needs to be some number in there. And date of birth also needs to be completed. There's a new tab, onboarding, which is more relevant for new starts. And I'll take at the end of the session, I'll have a quick discussion about our employee self-service module, which has been developed in our mobile app. But there are some key mandatory fields. As you've updated, these would have been automatically populated, so it's a matter of reviewing them to ensure that they are correct. If you have new employees, then they need to complete the declaration date and the acceptance indicator, which will mean that that will also meet your requirements for submitting their tax file numbers and so on in the next single touch payroll submission. The conditions of employment tab has a company start date, which I presume is in for all of your employees, but it must be provided. Obviously, termination date is only there when the employee gets terminated. Basis of employment, there's a new tabs there. Full-time casual labour hire, part-time pension to be completed. I think that defaults to full-time, so you can review that. Tax file number must be provided. And actually will be verified on the single touch payroll submission, and it's got a tax scale, obviously. Allowances is the key one, and just to make it clear. So again, no special characters, so car, can't be car, dash allowance, and down in the group certificate, the word D, need to select this drop down box here to use one of the ATO categories to identify. There are 6 categories there, fairly self-explanatory to click on those and select the appropriate category because that's what goes into the single touch payroll file. If you have selected it as taxable and print on the group certificate. Ultimately, group certificate will be amended because you won't be needing to lodge group certificates, so that will be basically display on single touch payroll or something similar wording. That's the key bits of cleaning up that are required. So allowances is one that has been a bit of an issue over the last few days. So that if you need help on that, Charlie and Rhonda, particularly Charlie, is getting used to sorting that out. So by all means, sing out to Charlie. Once you do your payroll and finalise your payroll, this screen comes up. So you need to just complete the declarer identifier, which is the person lodging it. The declaration acceptance indicator says that you are entitled to lodge it and this is appropriate for lodging. The date of the lodgement. The two boxes there, final event indicator and full file replacement indicator. The final event indicator is only used once a year, which is in the very final lodgement that you do for a tax year, and to indicate to the tax office that that's the end of the year, and then the next one will be for the following fiscal year. Full file replacement indicator is only used if there are some corrections to some data. It won't change the pay, but it will change descriptions and other words, and you need to relodge a particular file. Unlikely, because generally, if there's a problem, you can lodge it in the next month or the next batch. The file location is populated from your selection for payroll, the user. So the user has set up the file within systems maintenance. But you do have the ability to change that location if you wish to, using the lookup box down on the right-hand side here, and that takes you through the same sort of process that you'll see in other locations to nominate a location to save that file. When you're happy with the screen, you just need to click on the CSV button, and that's the end of the process, and the file is ready for you to go. The crunch now is then the Caladium process, which need to join Caladium. But what I will do is, whilst I've got the set of slides here, I will basically take you to the Caladium site, and we'll go through that in a moment. So let's just jump out of the slides. Go to Caladium. Next time login, so what I've got, log out stuff. Okay, so we have the login screen. If you're a first-time user here, click on the button on the top here, which is Join for Free, which will give you some base details to be completed, and to then go through the setup process.
Quick question, Ian.
Yeah.
We've already, that's Danny at Lambert.
Yes,
We've already done this before with the experiment, so we'd be okay, do you think?
Yep. Yeah, you just keep going. Yeah, you don't have to set up again. That's all good. All good to go.
Okay.
Yep.
Righto, thanks.
So once you've logged in, there's a box at the top called Forms. I guess actually, first of all, we should make sure you've got your profile, so your organisation profile. As we said, when you're setting it up, you need to set up the organisation. Within organisation settings, the key items within general settings, there are identifiers. The two key identifiers are your ABN number, and if you have multiple organisations that you're going to lodge for, you can add a range of ABN numbers. Within the single touch payroll module here, there's a product ID to be put in there, and the product ID is for our product is 703175. Once that's entered and saved, that automatically populates when you go through to do your file submission. So then going through to doing a submission, getting through this, you go to Forms. Sorry, the Forms button at the top here. You scroll across to Single Touch Payroll. Submissions. Now, when you do this the first time around, you have to set up an item called Google Authenticator. We'll just quickly go back to the slide. We'll show this slide. So you have to download an app, Google Authenticator, and you load it to your mobile device. When you go through Caladium, you'll be required to put in your password, security questions, and you submit this. When that goes through, there's a barcode that comes up on the screen. With your Google Authenticator, all you have to do is hold that up to the screen, scan the barcode, and that will load that data into Authenticator. So that every time, basically it's a random number generator, and it just is linked to the Caladium site. So when you go through the lodgement, it will populate with a random number to put in there. Let's go. Thank you. So here I've set it up, so I've got to put in an code, which I look up on my phone. Okay, so now we have the payroll submission. That's payroll submission, which is reasonably straightforward. Click on New. There are various details that are some partly populated and some not, so generally you click on it as a business. You have all of the information which has been populated there. Put in your reference file, which could be your let's call it the February. Or whatever, that's simply a means for you to be able to identify down the track the file. So then you just go into your file location, and you add the file, select the file. I don't find one here. Like this. There's a file. Complete the submitter of your role, employer. Complete the declaration on the bottom of the screen, and then click submit and to lodge the file. That is the process. I'm happy to answer questions now. One of the things you will do, the file takes a while to be cleared by the tax office, to be checked and reviewed. You need to review the status of the files. So the files that will give you a reference, and there will also be notes whether the file has been successfully lodged or an error. If there's errors, they will identify the nature of the errors and be able to display it to identify. Generally, this relates to some blanks or invalid characters as mentioned before. If that's the case, you can clean up the file and relodge it. But if you're doing that, it's a file that's been errored, you cannot enter it as a full file replacement. It's only selected if the file has been validly submitted, but there are some other items that you wish to update. So I'm happy to answer questions at this point. I think that I've got the slide set here, which is available for download on the website, and I can circulate that to everyone afterwards. So